Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. So, just starting the live stream. Trying to get the latency right. I'm a little bit behind you guys, but not by much, just by a few seconds. So, alright guys, thank you so much for anyone who is joining Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get into the Aries April general outlook. Now, I did say in a video earlier that I was going to do the love outlooks for April, but I'm going to wait on that. I was called to just do a general outlook for the month, and there may be love that comes out in that, right? Love issues or what have you, but doing a general outlook I find is a good way to just get an overview for the month. So before I get into the clarifying cards, we're going to use my traditional deck. Sorry about the background noise. Like, everyone's on lockdown, but apparently somebody out there is like riding the motorcycle up and down the avenue. All right. Okay, Aries, this is going to be April 2020. Going to do a full Celtic spread, and we'll do some clarifiers. And depending on what energies come out, I may pull romance angel messages or animal spirits. All right, so it's 8:31 now. Just going to give it another minute, shuffle a bit more, then we'll get ready to get into your spread. All right, guys, so don't forget to join my channel. Be a subscriber on my channel. This month I'm giving away the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, but I'm not going to talk too much about that in this video because this video is for April. And I'm giving that deck away tomorrow, March 31st. But for April, I will be giving a new deck away. So I'm going to decide over the next couple of days what deck for April will be, whether it's a tarot deck, an oracle deck, or what have you. And then I will be highlighting that deck for April that I'm giving away. But in any case, every month there is a giveaway on my channel, and all you have to do is be subscribed. So, all right, guys, so we're going to get right into Aries. Let's get ready to cut your deck. And this is going to be a general month outlook. All right, guys, so let's get right into it. Straight up at the center, you have 8 of Swords. Wow. Covered by King of Pentacles. You have the Knight of Wands and Star Energy. Let me move this down a little bit so you can see all the cards. King of Cups is the energy you're coming into the month with. And the energy you come out of the month with is a 10. So releasing burden for you. You have a 9 of Cups and an 8 of Pentacles, Judgment, and you round off with a Queen of Wands. Bottom of the deck, we have 2 of Cups. So there's definitely a love connection here that is going to be at the heart of a lot of what you're experiencing for April. All right, well, let's get into it. Aries, right off at the center, you start off with an 8 of Swords covered by a King of Pentacles. Now, this is unusual to a certain degree because I rarely have readings that start off with this energy. 8 of Swords, it means, first of all, the center card, of course, this is a Celtic spread, so the center card is really at the heart of your experience this month. But the 8 of Swords is a very difficult experience. It can be quite toxic. Now, it's interesting to me. I'm not sure that you're the one who's resonating with this energy for the whole month, but this is the energy that you're having to deal with this month. And 8 of Swords is this is someone who is very, very restricted in their thinking. They are adhering to a very sort of small-minded way of looking at the world. An 8 of Swords individual generally is incapable of making any decisions. They generally feel very, very alienated from the rest of the world because of their outlook. And so they are oftentimes someone who is very bitter. I want to say very, very bitter, very resentful. You know, this is someone who generally doesn't take much responsibility for their actions. And they have a terrible sort of experience in the world, but at the same time, they don't realize that the reason why their experience is so difficult is because of their own outlook. Now, it's interesting because by nature, of this sort of energy, Eight of Swords energy, generally people don't see themselves as this. This is almost always an energy that comes into you. Because, of course, someone who is resonating with this, who is embodying this kind of energy, is someone who thinks they're always right. Someone who doesn't think there's anything wrong with their outlook. So it's interesting that you will get this card in the center. It's almost as if this is going to be a month where you're dealing with a lot of sort of either people or institutions that have this kind of energy. This almost blind energy. I don't feel this is you, Aries. I feel this is unfortunately going to be at the center of a lot of your experiences this month. Is this, you may even be dealing with people who are very difficult to speak to because they literally are almost pathologically holding on to their outlook to the degree that you can't even have an engaging conversation, right? Like, it, almost as if you say something that doesn't fit in their construct, they'll almost act as if you never even said anything. Like, to that degree, right? Could be very much that you're dealing with that this month. That's the feeling that I'm getting. You're covering this with the King of Pentacles. So for some of you, Aries, I feel like this is you. I feel like you're the King of Pentacles, and this month is going to be a very frustrating month for you because you're going to be dealing with a lot of toxicity like this. A lot of sort of, I'm going to say this kind of energy, like I described it, right? But to a degree that it will be almost difficult for you to communicate, like I said. Very, very frustrating. Hi, Crystal. Stay in your integrity. I know that's right. Red Crystal Moon. Shout out to Red Crystal Moon. Awesome for always being there and for also being here tonight and helping to moderate. If you're going to moderate tonight for me, Red Crystal, I appreciate it. But this is a difficult month for you, Aries, dealing with this kind of energy. Okay, and you're the King of Pentacles covering it because, so this is certainly going to be a reading for an Aries who is successful, who has already had experience with success. You're going to be someone who has a certain sense of authority. I always like to see a king coming out for you, Aries, which means that you're in your own skin. Right, because you are the Emperor card in tarot, and that's not to say that every single Aries is an Emperor or an Empress, which is actually quite different in the tarot. But still, it's not to mean that, but it is to say that that is your skin, right? That's your skin, and so if you are resonating in a balanced way, if you've got healthy, balanced Aries energy, then we always want to see a king somewhere in your reading. Okay. Let's get into your conscious, unconscious. So your conscious, unconscious positions, Knight of Wands and the Star. So the Knight of Wands, and I want to say more subconscious, conscious and subconscious rather than unconscious. Knight of Wands is what you're sort of really focusing on this month. Again, this is why it's going to be very frustrating with you. There's going to be, some of you are really trying to get something accomplished. Knight of Wands is this really active energy of pushing towards a particular ideal or passion that you have, right? You are absolutely trying to vocalize your passions with people, certainly, right? Knights are always air. Right? So when we think of it in those terms, air is always associated with good thinking, clear thinking, coming up with solutions and ideas, with communication. So the Knight of Wands, we're talking about you really wanting to communicate your passion. You're really wanting to get a particular message across. And you're working strongly towards that this month. And in your subconscious, you've got that star energy. Star energy has been coming out everywhere for a lot of the readings. And star energy is all about sort of checking in with yourself, checking in with yourself in this way where we are, you can see the figure. She's pouring the water on the land. The land, needs to be fertilized. It is fertilized with our feelings and our emotions and our desires. And as we fertilize the land with these desires and emotions and feelings and wishes, it manifests, right? But it's something that constantly needs to be fertilized. It's something that constantly needs to be fed. And this is what the star is doing. This is what the figure on the card is doing. And it's really this energy of checking in with yourself, making sure that the steps you're taking and the communication you're having, the decisions you're making, the actions you're taking are constantly in line with your feelings, your emotions, who you are, what you desire, how you are wanting to manifest your dreams. And I think that right now, this is something in the back of your, or in the subconscious, or I would say, the back of your mind, where this is what is urging this Knight of Wands on. The Knight of Wands is your active front of your mind energy, your focus. And the star is kind of pushing it along. And I say this card has come up for a lot of readings because I think that right now a lot of us, by virtue of what is happening in the world and by virtue of the fact that we have been forced, many of us been forced into an environment, living condition that is so different to what we're used to, that it's a lot of us are being forced to look inwards. A lot of us are being forced to take the time and actually reevaluate our lives, our beliefs. Some of us, even our beliefs, our lives, our intentions, our motivations, our goals for some of us. And so star energy is everywhere. And I'm glad to see it here for you also, Aries, because it means that you are also very much taking advantage of the energy of the time, the collective energy right now, which is allowing you to kind of check back in with yourself. Maybe up until now you've been too busy, living a certain life or working, what have you, that you really didn't take the time or didn't have the time to check in if you were actually on that path that you wanted to be on. And now you're taking that time for April. Coming into the month, you're resonating with the King of Cups. So there's definitely a love connection that you desire. You have Two of Cups at the bottom. King of Cups is, again, I love it, another king for you. But King of Cups, of course, is that fiery energy when it comes to relationships, right? So this is the dominating kind of energy in a relationship. The king is the one, he's the hunter. He knows who he wants. He knows what he wants. He knows the kind of relationship that he wants. And he takes the intentional steps he needs to take to get it, to establish it, to maintain it, right? And so this is something you're resonating with. There's definitely, for some of you Aries coming into this month, there is a very definite outlook or focus that you've had with regard to a particular love connection. But it's much more sort of a focus and intention. I don't see a connection or an outside energy anywhere in your reading. Apart from the Two of Cups, meaning that there is a meeting of the minds, a balanced meeting of the minds happening or energy happening at some point this month for you. But there's no other cards really that talk about someone else per se. So you come into this month with this focus and energy, but we don't know yet. Right? We don't know yet. This month is going to be much more about you having to deal with the people and places and events that are just to do with your life, your career, your business, your outlook, whatever your passion is here. You see what I mean? Your life's passion. And our life's passions aren't other people or relationships. These are the things that we want for our lives, whether we're with somebody or not. And this is something that you're going to be mostly busy with this month. For those of you who are resonating with this reading. Now you come out of that month, April, with the Ten of Wands. So you definitely have a period this month where you're going to be able to let go of a lot of, I want to say, burdens and maybe even responsibilities that you've been carrying unfairly in as much as you didn't really need to shoulder these burdens or these responsibilities. And I think these are going to have a lot to do with this toxic energy. So there's someone, for some of you, I think that you have maybe you have an obligation or responsibility, or you feel like it's an obligation or responsibility or duty or something like that, some kind of burden that you're carrying. And the burden is having to deal, either having to deal with this type of energy in some way, shape, or form, or whatever the burden is, it's just impacting you this way. An example could be if you have like a sense of obligation perhaps to a family member. And I'm not talking about your children. I'm just talking about like maybe a family member, an old family member from a distant relative, or you feel like you have a duty or responsibility, maybe even to a certain portion, maybe say of your culture, your neighborhood, right? Even, right? Whatever, something like that, where you're feeling maybe even obligated to engage and deal and be responsible to a certain degree with some part of society, whether that part of society is your family or what have you. But you're having to deal with a lot of this toxic energy as a result of it. You know, the people that you're dealing with, the people that are part of your burden that you're carrying here are you know, the energy with whatever is attached to it is one of, you know, something or someone that can't help themselves. You know, it's a very toxic energy that you're almost forced to deal with. And it's like, feels to me like you're trying to help somebody who can't help themselves, but you're still obligated to them. Well, Ten of Wands feels like you're finally, by the end of this April, going to let go of that. Something's going to happen. I think that just dealing with this for an entire month and just you really having a different, I want to say, focus for your life this month with that star energy coming forward. I just feel like your experience this month for some of you, Aries, is really going to allow you to finally lay down all of this that you've been carrying here. And a lot of this, I feel, for some of you is some kind of obligation that you really don't need to be shouldering. And you're really going to be able to free yourself in a lot of ways. Now, how do you come into this month, right? How are you approaching this month? Usually the Celtic spread is straight down like that, but because of space, I lay it out like this. It is still the traditional Celtic spread, but you come into this month with a 9 of Cups, which is a feeling of being really blessed. And this is one of the reasons I think why you're having such a good recalibration this month. This is definitely a month for you, Aries, if you're resonating with this, where you're kind of really getting rid of the last little few sort of negative ties or connections. But for the most part, you're resonating quite highly because you feel very lucky, very blessed with that 9 of Cups. 9 of Cups has been coming out everywhere also. And it's a feeling of just like, man, you know, just being happy, being blessed, being happy, you know, just feeling like, you know, you're lucky, you know, and you're grateful for it, you know. And a lot of this has then, what has happened is with this attitude that you've had, and this is going to be as a result of some of your experiences. It could even be as a result of dealing with a lot of energies this month from others that is this sort of toxic energy. Part of your happiness could just be feeling like you're okay. You know what I mean? Feeling like you're healthy and you're mentally, emotionally okay, but you're met with like an 8 of Pentacles. Let me just check something on my stream. I want to make sure that okay, I was just going to say, I want to make sure that my chat was on. You guys are welcome to chat. I don't see a lot of people chatting. Eight of Pentacles is what is the energy that meets this sense of contentment and gratitude. And I think it's a feeling of work and labor. I think you're happy for that though, Aries. You know, Aries in general, you're one of these, you enjoy enterprise, right? You're an enterprising sign. You enjoy enterprise. You enjoy doing things, accomplishing things. And this work that comes in, this ability, 8 of Pentacles, to work on something and to work on really getting it to where you want, that manifesting that level that you want, is something you enjoy, and this is coming into you. I think this is one of the blessings as well that you're counting. You know what I mean? I think you're counting one of your blessings, and you know, this whole 9 of Cups, this happiness, I think for some of you, you may be indeed still able to work. Certainly, you're coming in as King of Pentacles, which means that you are definitely someone who knows how to survive. You know, someone who knows how to keep plugging, keep making the money, keep being productive and all of that. You know, you clearly have success under your belt. So when we're talking about the way things are going right now in the world, you are definitely you're surviving it and coming into a period of feeling blessed and having work. Right? Being able to work, that 8 of Pentacles. Judgment comes in. This is position for your hopes and dreams, and also your fears and worries, right? And Judgment is this feeling of really being able to see things from a different point of view. So many of you this month are going to be, hello Serena love, many of you this month are going to be feeling very much like you're broadening your horizons, your understanding of life. And some of your judgments and your criticisms that perhaps you've held on to for quite a long time are broadening. Because again, a lot of you are having judgments come out again for a lot of the readings. Cross watchers, you know what I'm talking about. Those of you who watch a lot of readings on my channel, you'll see there's some cards that just seem to be there in all the readings. And judgment is one of them. And I think it's all because you're having so many different experiences this month. And a lot of these experiences that we're having are serving to sort of increase our self-realization and understanding, helping us to transcend some of these experiences. And also all of us are having periods where our I want to say our judgment or our our perspective of certain things in the world are changing. They're getting bigger. We're now seeing certain situations from more than just our narrow point of view. And this allows us to really make better judgments in the future, right? Allows us to really have a better sense of awareness and a keener insight and decision-making ability. And it also allows us to be able to foster empathy and forgiveness and reconciliation at the same time. It's a very interesting card to come up for you, and this is something that you're really hoping for, and I think something that maybe it's something that you have been wanting for quite some time. The ability to see the world a little bit from a different point of view. It's certainly coming in for you. All right? Make sure you guys can see this. So now you round off the month with the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands is, she's a trooper, man. She's very, very wise. And she's really the card we want to see show up when we're learning something. But I'm going to get back to her when after we pull out your clarity cards. Let's pull out your clarifiers, Aries, talking about April. Right, this is your month coming up. This Aries season coming up. We're well into it now, but we're still in the March part of it, right? So, straight out, we have 8 of Wands. There you go, a lot of information. Hanged Man. So, yeah, some of you may not have been following your dreams as much as you wanted to. The Hierophant, commitment. Some of you are looking for commitment. And the Prince of Pentacles. Okay. Prince of Pentacles is the same as the Knight. And there we have the King of Wands. Some more King energy coming out. All right. Let me just move this over a little bit. More King energy coming out. Interesting. Of course, the King of Wands has a vision, right? He's a visionary. And a lot of this, I think, also is really about your vision for your life, certainly. So we have 1, 2, 3 kings that have shown up for you, Aries, and this is always nice for one of your readings. Certainly, this is talking about you embodying, your energy, your authoritative energy. But 8 of Wands comes in over that Knight of Wands. So for some of you, you are indeed feeling very passionate, giving rise to a lot of your passionate ideas. But an 8 of Wands indicates that you will have to be careful and put some boundaries in place, because there's going to be a lot of different energies that come into you this month. By virtue of your own passion and fire that you're displaying out into the world, there's also a lot of mixed messages, a lot of mixed, I want to say, it's like data coming in, right? Data coming in from everywhere, opinions, emotions, mixed emotions, confusing emotions. Be very careful, depending on whatever area you're in. Be very careful to have a level of boundaries and not just, you know what I mean? You're going to have to enforce some boundaries depending on whatever this endeavor is that you are about to partake. It just seems, it could be something that in which you're dealing with a lot of different people. You may be communicating with a lot of different people. In any case, 8 of Wands is a warning to just maintain your boundaries this coming month. Star energy is clarified with the Hanged Man, so certainly there's inspiration coming in for you this month that's really going to be driving you. There's a lot of inspiration. Despite the fact that you're going to be dealing with a lot of weird, toxic energies from people, your inspiration is strong. Hanged Man energy certainly indicates that there's a certain area in your life that you've really been not really putting a lot of energy into, and it's that area that you're suddenly now but receiving inspiration and wanting to really move forward in, right? So it's a nice energy of movement suddenly after a while where there was no movement. Coming in over that King of Cups. So here, Fat energy, this is the desire certainly to have a commitment. So there's some relationship this month, and I think that it's taking a little bit of a backseat because of whatever it is you're getting into here. Which, like I said, is your life's work sort of thing. But there is a desire for a strong commitment. And I think you already have your eye on who that is, Aries. I think this reading is definitely for an Aries who already has their eye on someone that they want to be strongly committed to with that Hierophant. But right now, this month is really all about you kind of getting yourself into the right place. Mostly by virtue of what you're having to deal with. Most of this is by virtue of just what life is throwing at you this month. Well, of course, some of us believe that life only gives you what you had intended it to give you in the first place, but that goes into a whole nother existential discussion that's not for this video. But nevertheless, this month is going to feel very much like you responding to just what you're having to respond to. It's not like you're initiating any of this. You're not initiating any of these experiences per se. You're having to respond. You're having to respond to changing environments and changing sort of ways of behaving, etc. So this is a moment where a lot of us are kind of being forced to respond to what we right now in the short term see as things that are out of our hands, that we are just being forced to respond to, that we have not initiated, right? So this is a real different kind of energy this month, you know. In any case, you're kind of dealing with that, and I think that you just don't have the energy to really apply to the focus or to the objective of your love right now. Prince of Pentacles coming in over that Ten of Wands, Princess being Knights. So again, you have more Knight energy. You have a lot of Kings, but you have a lot of Knight energy. So you're going to be very vocal this month about a lot of shit, Aries. You know, hey Gail, how you doing? Aries, when we talk about the princess or the knights being air, this is what we're talking about. You're going to be very vocal. You're going to be having a lot of, you know, ideas coming in, right? And the Knight of Pentacles is one of the most determined knights, right? Once he gets a bone, that's it. He's determined. He's going to follow it through until there's nothing left to follow. And a lot of this is going to be as a result of your releasing. So this obligation I was talking about earlier that I think some of you are finally going to be letting go of is really going to allow you to follow your path here with this Prince of Pentacles, like doggedly now. So you're definitely letting go of something, like I said before, it's some responsibility, obligation, or baggage that you've carried around with you that's associated with this toxic energy that I think this month you're going to be seeing, dealing with, and cutting out of your life. Right? And then, of course, this is the lesson. Queen of Wands is the one who learns the lesson. So I love to see her here, especially when you're having a life lesson or you're going through a particular time in your life where you're going to be making big changes. I think this month you are going to be making some big changes. Because that Ten of Wands is not just a spiritual letting go. It's also going to manifest in some of your decisions. You may stop speaking to certain people or interacting with certain people, places, or things, right? You may stop behaving a certain way or responding a certain way to certain people, places, or things. This is going to be a very real change, this Ten of Wands. But of course, spiritually, it's going to feel like a lightning. The Queen of Wands is there to reap the benefits of all of this experience. And to also put her own experience and wisdom into this month for you. So you're going to be very aware this month that you are going through a life lesson. You know, some of you will know what I'm talking about when I say that sometimes you are very aware. It's like you're living your life, you're going through the lesson, and you're making your mistakes and what have you, and I want to say, and your repairs, right? But part of you is realizing that you're going through something. And part of your psyche, part of your spirit, or your psyche, you know, part of your psyche connected to your spirit is realizing that this is a life lesson that you're going through. And so that part of you is watching also, right? Watching also and giving its wisdom or taking its lessons. And that's the Queen of Wands energy that I'm talking about. So some of you are going to be very much experiencing that, right? Because you're going to be making the changes that you need to be making. Reconciliation, remember, is there. But this is also, again, a lot to do with your vision. Now, what does that mean on the ground? This can certainly be something in your career. Again, career, where you work, your career, maybe the social work that you do if you're involved in that, or project work that you may be doing. It is some focus that you have that is works in this world, right? But I would say it's primarily whatever your field is, what your discipline is, that a lot of this is going to be going on. And a lot of it is going to have to do with the type of people you're dealing with and making decisions going forward of carrying certain people or deciding not to carry them anymore with that Ten of Wands. A lot of this month is going to be about you finally enforcing some boundaries with people with that Eight of Wands. And ultimately, in the long run, right, it's going to allow you to refocus your energy towards your goals, which up until now, towards your real dream for your life, I want to say, that up until now you really haven't made a lot of movement on. You've been kind of asleep there for whatever reason, whether, you know, I'm not blaming you or saying it's your fault, but I'm saying that this is everything that is happening this month is really allowing you to make these kind of adjustments and realizations, etc., to get you kind of sort of right back on track. And it's interesting because it wasn't even until now that you realized you were off track, because you were kind of in that pre-hanged man showing up stage, right? So the hangman in general is just hanging around, you know. When he shows up in the reading, he's enlightened. So the enlightenment has happened now, but before now, which is why the hangman is very much a timing card also in tarot. But before now, you were kind of just hanging around. You didn't even realize that you weren't on your path. So now you're kind of woke. You realize, oh shit, you know what? I'm not on my path. Now I've been inspired. I have all of this energy. I want to, and there's all of these changes. It's like you woke up suddenly now in your life, in your environment. You realize there are all these different little changes and adjustments that you have to make so that you are now back on your path. It's a life lesson, and that's why the Queen of Wands shows up. It's very, very nice, Aries. I'm going to leave it at that. This is your April outlook. I'm just going to leave it right there. I'm not going to pull any more cards. It's a long enough reading. It's already 30 minutes. All right, guys. And I'm going to be carrying on in a half an hour. I'm going to come right back, and we're going to be talking about Taurus April general outlook. All right, guys. But for right now, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Red Crystal Moon, for moderating. You didn't have to do very much, but thank you so much for stopping by anyway and always being there. I really love your support, and I appreciate it, of course. Thank you, Aries, for watching the video, and come back to my channel in a half an hour if you want to check out the Taurus outlook for April. All right now. Bye-bye, guys.